So for me, I really I want to support all children. And I have noticed that the chronic disease rates are skyrocketing, ADHD rates are skyrocketing, and it's so important to get involved and help our kids turn the corner and to focus on natural health and natural wellness and getting to a place of wellness. We're so focused these days in medicine on treatment, and that's what led me to get into integrative medicine in general. I'm not against Western medicine at all. I just think that there's a time and a place, and we're so focused on treatment instead of thinking about prevention or keeping things in balance. And especially when it comes to ADHD, we're so quick in medicine. And as I was in my training, just seeing how many people were given the diagnosis and how many children were so quickly put onto a medication without trying 1,000 other things first. And I'm not against medication, but it should be a last choice. It should be the final thing that we do. We should be trying everything first, as long as it's safe, before we move to giving a child a medication that they're going to take for years or maybe even their life. And so that to me is really why I wanted to get involved and to just share this message of hope and really trying to change the paradigm of medicine. I always wanted to be a pediatrician when I went to medical school. When I grew up, I actually grew up in Canada, and I used to coach sports. Yes, I coached hockey. I'm Canadian. I also coach baseball, and I always work with my younger brother on his teams, and I just absolutely love working with kids. And then I ended up working in sports camps and running some sports camps when I was younger, and I just always loved working with kids. And so when I went to medical school, it was always to be a pediatrician. I love just helping kids to thrive, and also, adults don't tend to listen, but kids definitely listen and they get better. And so, to me, it was always to be a pediatrician, and that's really the simple answer. In my practice, when I work with a patient, really when you're talking about integrated medicine, it's balancing the best of both worlds. So we still do everything that you would do in Western medicine, but we also take into account natural and holistic practices. And when it comes to alternative medicine, one of the major focuses is on our history and just getting a very thorough history from the patient, talking, maybe a little bit longer than you would in a regular doctor Western medicine visit, and really going back through all the things that could be contributing to their health and really thinking through their diet, their sleep, exercise, the toxins that they're surrounded by. Are there other contributing factors in their life? What's their mental health status like? What's the family's mental health status like? And really getting a good overall picture of what's going on, so that way you have some things to really think about. And also ruling out, when it comes to ADHD, ruling out, are there or could there be anything else that's contributing that makes it look like it's ADHD? Because there certainly are kids that have the diagnosis, but there are other kids that could have a sleep apnea issue, or could have been exposed to lead or other things. So you want to make sure we rule all of those things out and really get a good thorough picture of what's going on, so we don't just jump to the conclusion of doing a medication. And then even if after we go through and we do a thorough history and we do assume that they have ADHD, or they've already had the assessment and they've done all their due diligence, but they're coming to me for more natural means, then we would start having a discussion around, well, what are some of the other things that we can do to work with their symptoms to see if we can manage those a little bit without a medication. And again, I'm not against medicine. Some kids continue on their medications, but even if they are on a medication, then maybe we can decrease that dose over time. So, if the child, and it depends on every child is different, but if they have severe inattention, then what are some of the things that we can use to help them with attention? If they're hyperactive, which is more of the case of what I see, then what are the things that we can use to help calm their body? Are there supplements that we could use? Are there natural remedies? So that's really what we do in a nutshell. There was one patient that came in a few years ago, and they were a 7-year-old male patient who had the diagnosis of ADHD. And the parents were very concerned because they had gone to a therapist to get the diagnosis, and very quickly, within one day, they just kind of did a couple of surveys, they said, and then they gave them diagnosis, went back to their doctor. The doctor wanted to put them on a medication, and they really didn't want to do a medication unless they really, really needed to. And they didn't feel like it was a very severe case. It definitely had some problems with attention, but they didn't necessarily think that it was so severe that they should put them on a medicine. medicine. So they came to me, we did a thorough discussion, we went through their history, and it did seem like the kid was having some trouble with attention and not calming down. So we talked about their diet, and the child loved eating gluten and pasta and bread. That was like the main thing that they were on. They really did not have a diversified diet at all. They barely ate any veggies or fruits. They didn't drink a lot of water. And so the first thing we worked on was just changing their diet and getting more fruits and vegetables and nutrients. And even within 2 weeks, the parents said, oh, we feel like it's 5, 10, 15% better just by changing the diet alone. And then we started working on some supplements. We did some magnesium and some amino acids that are calming for the body. And again, they thought it was maybe 5, 10% better after doing that. And then they started working with a therapist to work on strategies that they could use at school and at home to really calm themselves down. And they also felt like that really helped them out. And so now they were at maybe 25% improvement, and they were happy with that. They didn't think that the child even needed a medication at that point at all, and they were really at a place that they were happy with. And since then, that child's never been on a medication and doing very well in school. And really the main thing was just a diet change. Label. Read the label for every single thing that you purchase and bring into your family's home. It is so important. There are so many chemicals and toxins in our food, and it makes such a difference. If on there it says tetra, bromo, methyl, goobly goop, whatever it is, it's probably not good for you, right? But if it says apples and pecans and almonds, then it's going to be most likely much better for them. So read the label, buy real food, buy things that you know what they are, and if you even just make small changes like that, it's going to go a long way for your children's health. What I would say to parents all over the world is that your family's health is in your hands. There's so much doom and gloom and fear out there about everything going on, but the reality is we have so much control over our family's health, and there's so many little things that you can do every single day to make a difference, so that way our children don't end up with a chronic disease, or if they do have a chronic disease, then we can improve their symptoms naturally.